Hey guys, and welcome back to an actor's notebook. So you guys like my shirt? I just got it. It's new. It was $5 from Forever. Yes, $5. Sorry, I don't know why it opened like that, but I don't know. I just saw it and I really enjoyed it, and I don't know. Forgive me for that. Anyway, today what we're going to be talking about is going to be monologues. Finding monologues. Specifically, I'm going to do this one for self-tapes. But of course, you can use those monologues for anything. I'm just going to be talking more specifically for self-tapes. If you want me to talk about specifically for like film monologues or television monologues or theater monologues, I can do that. But this one's just going to be a general kind of self-tapes kind of thing. Before we begin, I want to pause for a second and tell you guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And don't forget to also hit the bell notification so that you know every time I post. Okay, so let's get into it. So for a good monologue, you have to find something that speaks to you in whatever period of life you are at the moment. Find one. For me, a good solid monologue kind of shows who you are, shows what you can do as an actor, and shows range, where it's not necessarily like you go from laughing to crying, but shows that you can have shifts in the moment. And a good way to do that is just finding something that you connect with. Now, I often find like monologues from, I have friends and teachers and playwrights who I will reach out to if I haven't found a good monologue in a while. That is why it's very good to have connections. Always find ways to connect with people, whether that's just following a playwright who you like on Instagram and maybe messaging them, and I don't know, maybe they'll message back, or finding new playwrights who are just beginning and talking to them and starting that kind of friendship, or just being really close with any professors or any workshop artists who you've worked with before, who are great at like finding plays, or who are constantly reading plays, who can give you good recommendations. For me, I always think a great actress has to read as much as possible, whether that be scripts that you find online for television shows or pilots, episodes, or even like new films. Watching as many like different types of films as you can, and reading as many like plays as you can. I think you have to be an investigator as an actor, and you have to want that. You have to want the research, so for one of the one like example that I'm going to use is I reached out to one of my old teachers who actually was someone who wrote like stage directions for plays and was really into like the stage directions of a play. And so she read so many stuff, and she knew all these amazing artists, all these amazing playwrights, like personally as friends, and also just knew them from from reading so many different plays. And I messaged her because I was at the American Conservatory Theater, and I had to find this new monologue, and I didn't want to use anything that I had already used for this like one like workshop thing that we did, but and I also didn't want to go to like the library and just have to search for so many things because I had a short time. So I messaged her, and she told me about Dance Nation. Now, if you don't know about Dance Nation, Google it, read the play. I bought the play, actually. I think I showed this to you guys in my vlog when I was in New York. I bought the play at the Strand Theater. Now, this was after I had already read it online on Google Books, but because I had to after my teacher told me about it, and I was like, I love this. I found my first monologue, I found the monologue that I was going to use at the time, like in the first 10 minutes of reading, honestly. So I chose Zuzu monologue, and it's the monologue about her mother, like she's talking about dance, and she's talking about how she's never the best because she doesn't make someone cry. And it goes into her talking about her mother's cancer. At the time, I was still kind of raw from losing probably the most important, sorry, I'm getting emotional, probably the most important person in my life, my grandfather. My grandpa was like my favorite person in the entire world. Like, he's my best friend. And sorry, yeah, he was my best friend. And yeah, so I started working on that monologue because I connected with it. It was funny at times, but it was also like not something that you had to try too hard to be funny at, which is hard, you know. Sometimes you see something that's funny and you want to overplay it, you want to punch it really hard, but it's also sometimes just as powerful. You just kind of like, you know, give it a little nudge. So I worked on that. I worked on the character. I did all the work that I could on the character just for that specific monologue, and knowing where she was before and where she turns out in the end is very important for character work for any monologue, because then you kind of understand like where she is in that moment in time, and you can be her in that moment in time. I had to cut it, of course, because all great monologues are long. Ugh. But when you're doing a self-tape, no one wants to sit there for like 4 minutes and watch that. So I cut it. And I did an exercise with one of my teachers at the American Conservatory where I had to do the monologue first. Then he asked me some personal questions, which of course led to my feelings about my grandfather. And then he asked me actually to recount actors acting life. He asked me to recount the moment where I saw my grandfather in the hospital. My grandfather had a heart attack, by the way, and we had to drive to the hospital and wait there, and then eventually he passed away in the hospital. But he had a heart attack, and he made me describe the moment when I saw my grandfather I walked into the room and I saw like all the tubes, you know, and he wanted me to see it in person and then go into the monologue. And you stay in that state. You do. You find those really raw emotions. I don't recommend this for everyone. Not everyone can deal with it. It is a great exercise just to put you into the moment. And then after that, you don't ever have to do it again. Trust me, because once you do it once, it stays with you. So you don't have to go through all of that trauma again. But it's also nice, if you want to do it in front of people, great. If you don't, you want to just do this exercise by yourself, it still works. It still works. I don't really know if you benefit in any way by doing it with other people other than they can give you feedback when you go into like the real state. But then again, it's always hard to give feedback when someone's being so raw and vulnerable in that moment. But I think that's a great exercise to get yourself into the mindset of the character after you've done all this research, to just strip it down and be who you are. You already know who she is. Who are you in this moment? A lot of times you don't want to open yourself up to feeling all that emotion. But acting is a great way to just be vulnerable and just be human, you know, and to share something that maybe you wouldn't share if it was just you, you know. And then once you find who you are and you find who she is, then you can merge the two together and do something spectacular. I'm going to put a link to the monologue self-tape that I did for Dance Nation down below. I put it on YouTube because like I have to send those links to different like casting directors. But for some reason, all these other people started watching it. So you'll see that it has a lot of views. which is weird. But some of them are just from a bunch of like casting people, which is nice. But yeah, you can feel free to watch it and see what kind of happened when I merged those two and when I found a monologue that fit where I was in the moment. That monologue, I haven't done it in a while, and I don't know if I can right now because I don't know if it fits who I am at this moment. But the pain that I feel personally is still very real, and I don't know if I've tried to let it go, and I do let it go, and I've accepted it, but it still hurts because when you love someone, it hurts when they leave, you know, even if it's not by choice. And then also, I also understood Zuzu's like feeling of never being good enough because as an artist, we're constantly told what we're doing wrong and being critiqued and being rejected more than anybody else in the entire world. So I understood that as well. And she is an artist. She is a dancer who grows. So I highly recommend also reading that play. I'll put the name of the play and the playwright in the bio. I'll put that self-tape so that you can see what I'm talking about, like what I did to kind of like create this world within that self-tape and this world within this character. And yeah, let me know if you guys are working on any new monologues. Let me know if you need advice for any good playwrights or any good plays. I can send them your way. Just tell me what you're looking for. And also feel free to connect with other people and other artists and get yourself out there in that way. Alright guys, I hope I helped. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that jazz, and hit the bell notification down below. Alright, bye guys.